Those were two clips of Donald Trump as he returned to the White House from his brief stay at Walter Reed. Now, if you read Trump on Twitter, he's apparently doing great. He says he hasn't felt better in 20 years, that this is nothing to be concerned about. Everyone go on with your day. But in those clips, you can see it as clear as day. This is a man gasping for air. This is a man struggling to breathe. This is a man in clear physical pain. He should not be doing this, but he feels the need to because politically it looks bad for him to stay at Walter Reed. Because don't forget, this is a man who since February has tried to either say that this crisis is not real, or it's overblown, or it's not something that we can change our lives around. We just have to keep persevering because that's the American way. But what you see here is a man that had to go to Walter Reed to get advanced care, and that likely betrays what he's been saying, that this is actually quite serious, that this is actually something to worry about, that this is actually something you should shift your regular life around. And so he knows that, and so he had to leave to go back home, because leaving quickly allows him to continue to say, this ain't that big of a deal. But that was the imagery. That was raw footage. Some of the news footage, they were further away. CNN had a shot like from the wide angle by the helicopter. This was much closer. This is not a man that should be doing this. He is doing this for pure political and personal theater. This is why everyone that said Trump's he doesn't really have it, I disagree with that. This is a man that's clearly not feeling well. This is a man that's clearly hurting right now. But he would rather put himself at risk than admit that he was wrong and that people like him were wrong and have been wrong for weeks and weeks and months and months. And this is the consequence of that. He's trying to portray this image of strength, but when you get candid shots of the man, he is crumbling. And look, this is, of course, not the most authoritative source, but it is a source in this context that has a lot of credibility. We noted the video earlier, over the weekend of Claudia Conway, whose mother, Kellyanne Conway, worked with Donald Trump, was at the Amy Coney Barrett party, which was seen as an epicenter for this, spreading of the illness. And she was basically furious at her mother, and rightfully so, for exposing the family. And now Claudia is positive as well. And what she's noting on social media, and this is somebody who is the child of somebody very close to Donald Trump, basically saying what we all know, that he's not really doing better. Maybe he doesn't need to be bedridden. Maybe he's not that bad. But this is not clearly a man that is in good enough condition to make all of these unnecessary trips. He didn't need to leave Walter Reed. He didn't need to. He could do all of his business at Walter Reed. It's not a one-room bedroom like you or I would have at a hospital. He had basically a house-sized unit there with all of the things a person would need, personally and professionally. He didn't need to leave. And that what they clearly were doing was trying to stabilize him so he could leave just long enough to keep up political image. Because this makes him look bad. Some people were saying, he's going to get a sympathetic bounce. But that hasn't happened. Because this was not a man doing everything right to protect themselves and others and got unlucky. This was a man doing everything he could to put himself and others in danger, and his luck ran out. What you're seeing here are the literal and figurative last gasps of a political campaign, of a president that's flailing to save his own political career, and it's crumbling around him because of his own negligence and his own feeling that, physically but also politically, he was untouchable and he couldn't be affected. He's reaping what he sowed.